Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 16, Text number 1. Suta Uvacha Tata Parikshit Vijavarya Shikshaya Tata Parikshit Vijavarya Shikshaya Vijavarya Shikshaya Mahim Mahabhagavata Shashasaha Yatha hi sutyam abhijatako vidah Yatha hi sutyam abhijatako vidah Samadishan vipra mahadgunastatha Samadishan vipra mahadgunastatha Suta Uvacha Suta Goswami said Tataha thereafter Parikshit Maharaj Parikshit Dvijavarya the great twice born Brahmanas Shikshaya by their instructions Mahim the earth Mahabhagavata the great devotee Shashasa ruled Ha in the past Yatha as they told it He certainly Sutyam at the time of his birth Abhijata Kovida expert astrologers at the time of birth Samadhishan gave their opinions Vipra O Brahmanas Mahad Gunaha qualities great qualities Tatha true to that Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Suta Goswami said, O learned Brahmanas, Maharaj Parikshit then began to rule over the world as a great devotee of the Lord under the instructions of the best of the twice born Brahmanas. He ruled by those great qualities which were foretold by expert astrologers at the time of his birth. Please repeat. Suta Goswami said, O learned Brahmanas, Maharaj Parikshit then began to rule over the world as a great devotee of the Lord under the instructions of best of the twice born Brahmanas. He ruled by those great qualities which were foretold by expert astrologers at the time of his birth.
at the time of his birth.
Purport. At the time of Maharaj Parikshit's birth, the expert astrologer Brahmanas foretold some of his qualities. Maharaj Parikshit developed all those qualities, being a great devotee of the Lord. The real qualification is to become a devotee of the Lord, and gradually all the good qualities worthy of possession develop. Maharaj Parikshit was a Mahabhagavata, or a first-class devotee, who was not only well versed in the science of devotion, but also able to convert others to become devotees by his transcendental instructions. Maharaj Parikshit was therefore a devotee of the first order, and thus he used to consult great sages and learned Brahmanas who could advise him by the Shastras how to execute the state administration. Such great kings were more responsible than modern elected executive heads because they obliged the great authorities by following their instructions left in the Vedic literature. There was no need for impractical fools to enact daily a new legislative bill and to conveniently alter it again and again to serve some purpose. The rules and regulations were already set forth by great sages like Manu, Yajnavalkya, Parashara, and other liberated sages. And the enactments were all suitable for all ages in all places. Therefore, the rules and regulations were standard and without flaw and or defect. Kings like Maharaj Parikshit had their council of advisors, and all the members of that council were either great sages or Brahmanas of the first order. They did not accept any salary, nor had they any necessity for such salaries. The state would get the best advice without expenditure. They were themselves samadarshi, equal to everyone, both men and animals. They would not advise the king to give protection to man and instruct him to kill the poor animals. Such council members were not fools or representatives to compose a fool's paradise. They were all self-realized souls, and they knew perfectly well how all living beings in the state would be happy, both in this life and in the next. They were not concerned with the hedonistic philosophy of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. They were philosophers in the real sense, and they knew well what is the mission of human life. Under all these obligations, the advisory council of the king would give correct directions, and the king or executive head, being himself a qualified devotee of the Lord, would scrutinizingly follow them for the welfare of the state. The state in the days of Maharaj Yudhishthir or Maharaj Parikshit was a welfare state in the real sense of term because no one was unhappy in that state, be he man or animal. Maharaj Parikshit was an ideal king for a welfare state of the world. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Iti Namine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Suta Uvacha Tata Parikshit Vijavarya Shikshaya Mahim Mahabhagavata Sashasaha Yatha hi sutyam abhijatako vidaha samadishan vipra mahadgunastatha. Suta Goswami said, O learned Brahmanas, Maharaj Parikshit then began to rule over the world as a great devotee of the Lord under the instructions of the best of the twice-born Brahmanas. He ruled by those great qualities which were foretold by expert astrologers at the time of his birth. So we start the new chapter, Parikshit Maharaj. The heading is How Parikshit Received the Age of Kali. So although we saw in the previous chapter that all the Pandavas, including Yudhishthir Maharaj, they could see the advent of Kali, but it's not yet fully manifest. You know, not yet fully manifest. That's why now Parikshit Maharaj is going to receive the person. Kali is a person again. It's a personality who is presiding over this. So Maharaj Parikshit is going to do that, and before that, Suta Goswami is explaining to the Brahmanas, the sages gathered at Naimisharanya to hear this Bhagavad Katha. So he is saying that once all the Pandavas departed, then Parikshit Maharaj was appointed. We know that Parikshit Maharaj was appointed by Yudhishthir Maharaj to rule over the whole kingdom. So he was getting very, very good, perfect advice, consultation from Dvija Varya. Dvija means twice born. Once is a natural birth, and the second is when you take the initiation. Diksha, Brahmana Diksha. So they're all called Dvija. So he ruled under their guidance. So there is an advisory board, ministers. They're all Brahmanas. So it was very nicely arranged. This whole Varnashram system, if you see, it was very nicely arranged. The Kshatriyas are ruling, administrating, and the Brahmanas are advising, and Vaishyas are doing the agriculture and taking care of the cows and mercantile, and Shudra is the labor class. So all put together, the whole thing was running beautifully, without any. Of course, problems will be there because we have taken the human birth. So problems will be there. The four problems of birth, death, old age, and disease, that will not go away. But within that, see, we have additional problems. Like we have this Adhyatmika Klesha, Adi Bhautika, and Adi Daivika. So we have more of Adhyatmika. And then, of course, Kali Yuga is progressing fast, so we have Adi Bhautika. And then we are playing with the nature, destroying the nature to a large extent. And so we get Adi Daivika. So everything is there. But still, as I said, we have much more of that now. Much more. Earlier, nobody was using Odomos. We did not hear anybody using Odomos or nor complaining about it. But now, so many new varieties have been born. And then we have to protect ourselves from all that. And so, see the difference between Srila Prabhupada in his purport describes the difference between the Raja Rishis and the present day chief executives, the chief executives of the country. There is no moral. They will say, okay, in the name of God, etc., etc. But really, in reality, I was just watching the other day, the president of the most powerful country in the world. What he eats on his Christmas or Easter or all that is published. If you see the list, it's all horrible things. He just has a steak and some chicken this and ham that and some sausage and then with a wine. And that's how they celebrate. So naturally, the whole population also gets the same message. Or some other president, on Thanksgiving Day here, they kill millions of turkeys. And then he pardoned some 5 turkeys. And one time they showed that he was pardoning, and right behind him, somebody was chopping the neck of the other turkey. So just this is one example. And then we know that they win there in democracy. It's supposed to be, so people choose the leader, etc. But if you see, They just win by unfair means. So much money flows. Here they spend something like the one candidate gets some $1 billion, and the other one is just a little less than that. So it's like almost 5,500 crore spent by one person to get re-elected or elected or something. So this is everywhere, and we are seeing now whenever these people are disposed or deposed from their post, then we find that they had something like 50, like some Egypt president. He had some 55 billion. He's as rich as Bill Gates. Bill Gates is rich because of his manufacturing. This person is rich because of his presidency. He's not done anything great. In fact, he's going to be prosecuted. All this because even their council is not a Brahmanas. Brahmanas means intellectual. It's not a Brahmanas. It's some hodgepodge. You have to take somebody because he belongs to some particular color or creed or like that. So naturally, there's a huge difference, and so there is no welfare. And especially Prabhupada talks about welfare means welfare of all the living entities. Here they just talk of, in the whole Western hemisphere, they talk of only one entity, a human being, and the rest is available for exploitation. And that's why we get all the curses of all these animals, and then we get into trouble more and more and more. So Bhagavatam is going to tell us how a real king has to, a real leader. No more kings now, very few kings. But the real leader, these leaders are more powerful than the kings in some places. But still, like even if you say even Mughal Akbar, we see, he had a council. And in the council there were some Hindus and all sort of people. But of course, his job was to spread his religion, so we can't put him in the same category as Maharaj Parikshit. So this is an ideal situation. Ideal situation is a tough time. Kali is coming up, and now in this chapter we'll see how he receives age of Kali. And how he receives Kali itself. Okay. So thank you very much. I have to stop here. If you have any question, you can always write to me or ask. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Please do not hesitate from asking questions. As I said, whenever you have any doubt, please ask.